The collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 90s left the United States as the sole superpower in the world, and it's never looked back in all aspects of the world. The United States is indeed a superpower, especially when it comes to its military might, which is unsurpassable in its strength, technological superiority, operational capabilities, and power projection across the globe. In this video, we'll take a look at the 5 top reasons why you wouldn't want to go against the U.S. military establishment. The United States Air Force is the strongest in the world, not only in the number of operational aircraft, but also in technological superiority. The country currently operates a total of over 15,000 military aircraft, combining all the branches of the military service, including the U.S. Navy, U.S. Army, Coast Guard, and the U.S. Marines. As of 2017, the U.S. Air Force alone has a fleet of over 5,300 aircraft, 406 intercontinental ballistic missiles, and 117 military satellites, greater than any other country in the world. The USA has the largest number of stealth aircraft designed to be silent killers and untrackable by the radar defense systems of most countries in the world. Some of these stealth aircraft include air superiority fighters such as the F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter heavy bombers such as the B-2 Spirit. In fact, the United States pioneered this technology in the 1980s with the introduction of the F-117 Nighthawk stealth attack aircraft. Stealth aircraft are designed to avoid detection using a variety of technologies that reduce radar reflection from ground, sea, or air-based radar antennas, thereby reducing its radar cross-section, or RCS. This revolutionary technology allows a fifth-generation aircraft such as the F-22 Raptor with a max takeoff weight of 83,500 pounds to have a radar cross-section of just 0.0001 meters squared, about the size of a bumblebee. What's more insane is that the massive B-2 bomber also has the same radar cross-section as the F-22 Raptor. Thus, it becomes extremely difficult to track stealth aircraft, even if the enemy spots them on their radar scopes. It's a whole other story to successfully track them and register a missile kill. The whole idea behind this technology is to break the chain in which a conventional surface-to-air missile defense system works. It's the same reason countries like China and Russia are also hard at developing their own stealth fighter, the Chengdu J-20, and the Sukhoi Su-57, respectively. These aircraft will allow the U.S. Air Force to assert its air superiority over any battlefield of the future. And we all know that control of these skies is the biggest decider in any war. The next reason why any country going to war with the U.S. military should think twice is because of the strength of the U.S. Navy and its dominance over the world's ocean, especially the Navy's supercarriers. The U.S. Navy currently operates 11 nuclear-powered Nimitz-class supercarriers, which is the largest aircraft carrier fleet in the world. The only navy that can come close in terms of technological advancement is probably the Royal Navy of the United Kingdom, but they only have 2 operational carriers. The Nimitz class of carriers has a displacement of over 100,000 tons and can carry a complement of up to 70 aircraft. They're literally a floating small town in the ocean with its own airport. The Nimitz-class carriers in themselves are extremely potent defensive weapons, but the way they operate in what is called the carrier strike groups makes these ships even more deadly. A carrier seldom deploys alone. There are always a fleet of surface and underwater assets surrounding them and forming a strike group. These include guided missile cruisers, a destroyer squadron, attack submarines, and other support vessels. Together, they project the power of the carrier and at the center of the group forward, towards the enemy. While the carrier is carrying out its offensive role with the use of its air wing, the other ships are responsible to protect its flanks against any enemy attack. This combination of offensive and defensive strategy makes the U.S. carrier strike group almost impenetrable. The United States Navy maintains 9 such carrier strike groups, 8 of which are based in the United States and 1 that's forward deployed to Japan. For over 50 years, this has been the principal element of U.S. power protection, and the Nimitz class of supercarriers are at the center of it all. Despite this, the U.S. is currently in the process of developing a new class of carriers called the Gerald R. Ford class, intended to replace the Nimitz-class ships. This new supercarrier will be even more technologically advanced and is expected to continue U.S. dominance of the oceans well into the late 21st century. The third reason why you shouldn't fight the U.S. military is their massive stockpile of nuclear and conventional intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs. The ICBM plays the role of the land leg in the U.S. nuclear triad along with the Trident submarine-launched ballistic missile SLBM and nuclear warheads carried on long-range strategic bombers. ICBMs are launched from ground-based missile silos achieving high suborbital space flight approximately 1,000 miles above the surface of the Earth. The body of the missile then separates from the warhead, which re-enters the atmosphere and free-falls to the assigned target at hypersonic speeds. The U.S. military currently operates 400 ICBMs from its base in Wyoming, Montana, and North Dakota. The LGM-30G Minuteman III is the only type of ICBM that is currently operational in the U.S. The Minuteman III family of ICBMs were first developed in the 1960s as a response to the Soviet nuclear threat throughout the Cold War. And beyond, these missiles have undergone constant modernization. In the last decade alone, the U.S. military has undertaken $7 billion worth of upgrades. The rocket propulsion engines, the propellants used, the guidance system, and even the flight control surfaces have all been refurbished. The upgraded missiles are completely different from its 1960s counterparts, except for the shell. These state-of-the-art improvements and modernization programs have kept the Minuteman III system operational for over 50 years, with improved reliability that supports the missile's remarkable 99% alert rate. The latest versions of the missiles have a range of over 8,000 miles, which is greater than the diameter of the Earth at 7,917.5 miles. They can carry multiple 330-kiloton nuclear warheads, which is 20 times greater than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Not only that, each of these warheads can be assigned to different targets independently. The technology is called Multiple Independently Targetable Reentry Vehicle, or MIRV, and was first developed for the Minuteman III family of missiles. So, any country messing with the United States will have to deal with this awesome arsenal of firepower, which can be launched at a moment's notice. If it weren't the ICBMs or the stealth fighters raining fire down on you, it would be precision-guided munitions, or better known as smart bombs or PGMs instead. This is another big reason why not messing with the U.S. military is a good idea. All branches of the U.S. military use smart bombs in some forms or the other. These weapon systems are designed to be precise and hit a specific target with maximum efficiency. These bombs are so effective that during the first Gulf War, PGM comprised only 9% of weapons fired, but accounted for 75% of all successful hits. Since then, for the U.S. military at least, the days of normal artillery shells and unguided bombs are long gone. Nowadays, the military uses PGMs from air, ground, and sea. Precision-guided munitions come in various forms and use different kinds of technologies to achieve precise hits. A large majority of PGMs use the Global Positioning System, or GPS, of satellites to guide their trajectory to target. However, sometimes this becomes a problem as GPS coverage is not always reliably available everywhere across the globe, or bad weather conditions can hinder operations. Thus, the Office of Naval Research, the Naval Surface Warfare Center, and the Army Research Laboratory have all coordinated to develop the first ever artillery-fired smart munition that will not use GPS guidance. The project is known as Moving Target Artillery Round, or MTER for short. The MTER shell can be guided onto stationary as well as moving targets in both land and sea using a combination of guidance technology. The best part is that these shells can be fired from the existing M777A2 155mm towed howitzer and the M109A7 Paladin integrated management self-propelled 155mm artillery systems already in use by the U.S. military. The shells will also feature an extended range of 40 to 60 miles using rocket boosters to propel them. Once finished, it will afford the U.S. military another potent weapon system that outclasses others around the world. Lastly, the fifth and final reason why you shouldn't fight the U.S. military is drones. We're all familiar with what an unmanned aerial vehicle or drone is and what it's supposed to do. But in recent years, the usability of UAVs are steadily increasing to encompass all spheres of military operations, and the U.S. military is the pioneering spirit behind it. At first use only for surveillance missions, drones were quickly weaponized after the 9/11 attacks and have been extensively used by the U.S. military in the war against terror as an offensive weapon platform. It's forecasted that over the next decades, the U.S. is in line to purchase over 1,000 combat drones of various classifications, some of them, like the Lockheed Martin RQ-170 Sentinel and the Boeing MQ-25 Stingray, are already in the final stages of development and, once finished, will provide the U.S. military with state-of-the-art platforms capable of multi-role operations ranging from attack missions to aerial refueling. Drone technology has reached such heights today that a single UAV can loiter miles above the surface of the Earth for hours, waiting for the target to show its head and sticking within P-unity. This capability will allow all the services under the U.S. military to reduce its dependency on manned platforms, thereby reducing the risks during future combat operations. These 5 weapon systems make the U.S. military extremely dangerous for any adversary looking to get into a conflict with them. In a conventional warfare setting, it's almost impossible to beat the U.S. military machine. That's why modern enemies of the United States are employing more and more asymmetric warfare strategies against the mighty U.S. military. Despite that, the U.S. military juggernaut is hands down the most powerful military complex in the world today, and probably will be for decades to come. That's all we have for you today, folks. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you like the video and want to stay up to date on cool military stuff like this, then click the subscribe button and also click the notification bell, and you'll be the first to know the next time we release a video. Thanks for watching.